this video, I'll show you the easy way to paint beautiful birds with acrylic paints. Whether you're a beginner painter or an artist looking to try something new, this simple technique will have you painting your own cute birds in no time. Hi, I'm Rachel. I create colourful paintings and I make tutorials so that you can learn how to paint them too. In this video, I'll be showing you the simple technique that I use to paint birds. This will work with any type of bird as long as you have a reference photo that you can follow. If you'd like to watch the full-length tutorial for this cute lovebird painting, then just head over to my Patreon, which is Rachel Froud Art, where you'll get instant access to all of my full-length step-by-step art tutorials where you can paint along with me in real time. I always start my animal paintings by painting the background first, as this means that we can paint the feathers overlapping the background, which helps to make the birds look cute and fluffy. I've broken the process down into separate steps to make it nice and easy to follow. The first step is to focus on colour blocking. To do this, we'll need to mix some dark, medium and light shades of paint into our paint palette. The colours that you use will depend on the bird that you're painting. I'm painting a Valentine's themed bird painting, so I'm using different shades of pink paint. We can start to use the darker shade of paint to block in all of the darkest areas of the bird. Don't worry about adding any feather texture at this stage, as we'll be doing this in the next layer. Once you have blocked in all of the shadows, we can focus on filling in the mid-tone sections. This will be any part of the bird that isn't a deep shadow or a bright highlight. You can use a few different shades to fill in your mid-tones if you like, just keep looking at your reference photos so that you know exactly where to paint them. You'll need to use the medium shades of paint to do this. Again, the colours will depend on the specific bird that you're painting. I always include a reference photo with my full-length tutorials, so if you want to follow a bird painting that I've created, just head over to my Patreon and everything that you need for the tutorial will be included. Continue to fill in the midtones, gently blending them with the edges of the shadows that you have already painted, leaving just the bright highlighted sections to paint. Use your lightest shade of paint, or even white paint, to paint the brightest sections of the bird, blocking in where the highlights will be. You can gently blend the highlights into the midtones so that there aren't any harsh lines, but don't worry about adding any details just yet, as we'll be doing this in the next layer. Now that we have blocked in all of the shadows and highlights, we can start to add feather texture to make the bird look cute and fluffy. Start out with your darkest colour and paint the shadows underneath each clump of feathers. Continue to do this over the whole of the bird's body. This helps to give the impression of feathers without having to paint each individual detail. Then, use a lighter shade of paint to begin painting the feathers over the top of the shadows. This will help to define the clumps and emphasise the effect of the fluffy feathers. You can then build up the contrast by adding even lighter shades of paint, using a thinner paintbrush to add in some finer lines. You'll start to see the feather texture really showing through at this point. Repeat this exact same technique with the bird's head, adding contrast while flicking your paintbrush back and forth to create the texture. And when you reach the edge of the bird, flick the paint outwards over the background to give the impression of feathers. Once you have painted the feathers, you can then move on to painting the bird's eyes and beak. I've made a lot of videos showing the techniques that I use to paint animal eyes, so I won't go into loads of detail here, but I will say that I add the most detail to the eyes compared to any other part of the painting, as it's usually the first thing that people notice. Even on a tiny painting like this one, I make sure that I add detail into the shadows and highlights to really bring the birds to life. To finish painting the birds, we just need to paint the beaks. Usually I will use a range of grey and blue shades of paint to do this, however it will depend on the species of bird that you are painting and the colour palette of your artwork. For example, in this painting I'm using shades of pinks and red to fit in with the Valentine's theme that I was going for. I really enjoy experimenting with different colours, and I think that it's fun to not always focus on making it too realistic, as it helps bring out our creativity. I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope that you enjoy painting your own beautiful bird paintings. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this.